Hello, gorgeous. Welcome to HG Radio, everything beauty, cancer, and inspiration. Here is your co-founder and host, Kim Becker.
Hello, gorgeous, and thank you for joining us today. I'm your host, Kim Becker, and this is Hello, Gorgeous, everything beauty, cancer, and inspiration on Society Bites Radio, social interaction for your mind and soul. Our guest today is Toni MAYBERRY. Toni earned her bachelor's degree in medical technology from Andrews University and has held medical technology positions in microbiology, toxicology, chemistry, blood banking, immunology, and hematology before taking her current position at HARPER Cancer Research Institute. She also worked at the South Bend Medical Foundation and the South Bend Clinic and Lakeland Regional Hospital. Toni has also taught chemistry, anatomy and physiology, and medical terminology at National College in South Bend. She holds a master's in healthcare administration with an emphasis on education. The role of the tissue bank coordinator allows Toni to channel her passion for finding a cancer cure as she lost her mom, young niece, and husband to the disease and is a cancer survivor herself. Hi, Toni, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Kim. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for pinch hitting for me today.
No problem. You know, I'm always there for you.
I know, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. So before we kind of get into things, I wanted to tell our listeners a little bit, like, I'm trying to remember how we met.
Well, the first time I actually saw you, and I think we met very briefly, you were accepting an award at the Coaches versus Cancer event.
Yes.
And I had known a little bit about Hello Gorgeous, and my friend Kim was the person who had actually nominated you. And I actually was there, but I probably didn't talk very long to you. My husband was just diagnosed with cancer, so it was a very emotional night for me because
Sure.
I had this new position as tissue bank coordinator, and I was trying to keep a brave face and smile. And there were times I went to the bathroom and had to take a break. So, but
Sure.
that's how I first met you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I remember, so I didn't remember meeting you there for the first time. Then I remembered meeting you at the Irish pub in town.
Yes.
And I was at Michael's. It may have been Michael's Wake. It may have been Michael's Irish Wake.
It was.
And you were there, and we were planning an event together. And I remember Trisha saying, "You've got to come over here and you've got to meet Toni just real quick, Kim. You got to meet her real quick." And so anyway, that was my first, just the big smile
Yes,
and the
I remember.
open arms
I remember
and the
that
big hug,
night.
and yeah.
Yes.
So anyway, so I'm grateful that our paths have crossed and that we're where we are today. So the first thing I wanted to start with is, if you wouldn't mind, I'd love for you to share your cancer diagnosis. So you were diagnosed with breast cancer how many years ago?
That was 17 years ago in May.
Wow.
I had lost my mom to the disease the year before, and we were dealing with my father being a widower and whatnot. And I'd gone to the doctor. It was actually not through a mammogram. I had had my mammograms every year since I was 27. And it wasn't through a mammogram. It was through my doctor's examination.
Wow.
And he called me on a Friday night, May 28th of 2002. 6:30 at night. You know that's not good news when a doctor calls you then. And
Right.
told my husband and I to come into the office. I remember crying all the way there, but I was crying more of relief. I had had a biopsy 5 years before, and it was every year they thought they saw something. So it was a little unnerving every year going through that. And my attitude was, let's get going with this now.
Right. And so this was a lump that you found yourself then? It wasn't through a mammogram?
He found, actually.
Really?
I had lumpy breast syndrome, and it was to the point where I was sometimes I didn't really know what I was supposed to be feeling. So sometimes I didn't really make those examinations the way I needed to, because I felt that it was making me a little more anxious.
Sure.
If I thought I felt something and I didn't really feel something. And the doctor actually was the one who found it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And what type of treatment then did you endure after the diagnosis?
I chose a double mastectomy.
Okay.
So I was stage 1. I had doctors and oncologists argue with me about that. I had made that decision years before when I sat in a waiting room with my father while my mother went through what I call the normal procedures of a lumpectomy, and then she went through a mastectomy, and she went through reconstruction. I was much more rebellious than that. I chose to have both breasts removed. Yeah,
Right.
you're giggling because you know me too well.
Yes, I do.
And I chose to not have reconstruction at the time because there were problems with implants. I chose not to do chemo or radiation.
Wow.
I did tamoxifen for 5 years. I did Lupron shot for 2 years, and then chose a hysterectomy.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow. But you're here. And that's what I
Yes,
love
ma'am.
about your story more than anything is that
Yes, ma'am.
17 years later, you're still here.
Yes, ma'am.
And so if it's okay, and I did send you this question just to get your approval, but I had not seen the tattoo that you have until just recently.
Yes.
And it is truly a work of art. It is it is stunning. When I saw that, I thought it's amazing. So can we talk a little bit about your tattoo and why you chose to go this path?
Yes. I had started my reconstructive surgeries, I think it was 3 years ago. So I went through, since I had not had implants for so many years, I had to go through a very long process of having the expanders in. And then my doctor did the implants. And then between the time of him doing the implants and my doing the talk with him about doing the nipple reconstruction and whatnot, I had had a memorial tattoo put on my right arm in memory of my husband, Jay, who passed away from metastatic melanoma. And whenever my doctor saw that, he first said, well, maybe you don't want to do the nipple surgery. You might want to do just a 3D nipple tattoo, because my artist actually does that for free for women who have gone through breast cancer.
Wow.
And then his nurse brought up some pictures, and she said, you might want to think about this. And she's already doing the tattooing thing. And I thought, because if I did the nipple tattooing, my scars would still be showing. And I frankly was to the point of moving on from seeing them. I'd seen them for so many years. And so I talked to my ink artist, and I originally was going to just have a line of Celtic knots across the scars, a pink ribbon coming down to my abdomen in memory of my mother who passed away from breast cancer, a black one in memory of my husband who passed away from melanoma. And when I went to talk to John, he said, nope, it's not what we're going to do. I have something very special planned for you because you've been through a lot. You're such a warrior. And so he started this tattoo. I have 11 and a half hours in so far.
Oh my gosh.
It is basically it looks like a corset. And
Yes.
I never realized how much I had avoided the mirror until I got the tattoo. And now I don't avoid the mirror anymore.
Isn't that amazing? Like,
yes.
You just don't even realize that you walk past it and you don't see your reflection. Like, you just really don't see it. Right. But now you have a purpose and a reason to look in the mirror.
Right. And I've had 4 different photographers do sessions with me, and those pictures are gonna go into an ink magazine.
Oh
and I know.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's really wonderful to look at those pictures, because I was so hard on myself for so many years. I would look in the mirror and see the extra weight. I would see the thinning hair because of my cancer. I would see the wrinkly skin because, your skin changes when you go through something like this. And then I look at those pictures and say, wow. I mean, I knew in my heart that I'm a really strong person, a beautiful person, but on the outside, I wasn't seeing that anymore.
Mm-hmm. And now, when you look in the mirror, what do you see?
Oh man, I go, damn.
I know. It's just stunning, these pictures of, and what I love about it is that you listened to other people and took a suggestion. It wasn't, nope, it's always been done this way. Nope, I need to be back the way that I was. What you found is your new normal.
Right.
And I think that's what inspires me most about you and your story, is that you were able to follow that path and you found that new normal. And it may not be a new normal for everybody.
And my new normal is soaring at this
yes.
point. It really is.
Yes, it is. And I love watching you just evolve into this individual. I love it.
Thank you.
And so let's talk about, because now, I think that the confidence that you've gotten it's really helped you in your work too. I had the opportunity to come and actually see you do what you do,
Yeah.
which is why I was so grateful to be able to have you on as a guest to talk more about what it is that you do. So tell us a little bit about the Harper Cancer Research Institute.
Okay, so I had not known that we even had this institute in our backyard. I had gone to a survivor luncheon with my aunt, and there's this woman. Her name is Dr. Sharon Stack, and she gets up. She's from the Harper Cancer Research Institute, and she talks about the work that they're doing. And she also cried, talking about her father she'd lost to cancer. And I looked at my aunt and I said, I don't know how, but I'm going to work for that woman someday. She's got the passion that I have.
Wow.
And we connected, and she would come to National College and do presentations for my classes. And finally, the money for the grant opened up, and I applied for the job. It was a little scary because I was 51 against a bunch of kids, but I came in with a plan, and I actually laid it out in front of them because I also know the medical field. I've worked in the medical field long. I know the political side of the medical field. And so with this position that I do is I'm the tissue bank coordinator. So I am the liaison between the hospitals, the surgeon's offices, the laboratory, and Harper.
Wow.
And so I connect with the surgeons. They talk to their patients about giving tissue to us for research. And the reason why it's so important, we are a community-based tissue bank, nonprofit. Most tissue banks that we have found are connected to teaching hospitals. Only 20% of patients go to those teaching hospitals. 80% stay in their community for many reasons. You have your family here, you're comfortable with your doctors. So 80% of patients are not being represented in that research environment.
Wow.
It's been very difficult because I'm not a employee of the hospital, so I can't go into their systems and just grab those patients like a teaching hospital can do.
Right.
It's a lot of building those relationships, and Harper is very different in the way they do research. We do collaborative research, and that was Dr. Stack's mission, was to have researchers. We have mathematicians working with biochemists. We have physicists working. There are so many teams, and she works on the team approach and finding answers. And that's the same thing with the tissue bank. It's totally grant funded, and researchers from Notre Dame and IU School of Medicine are able to apply for tissue that's been de-identified by me and put that into their research. And the great thing about that, they don't have to take precious grant money out of their funds.
Wow.
Because some of this tissue, we have found some tissues up to $10,000 for a piece of tissue.
Wow.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
And we need human tissue to find a cure.
That's right.
And so that's what my job, I have a direct link of connecting researchers to that tissue they need. And it's a 24/7 job. There's times I'm at the hospital at 4:45. I could be called in at 11 o'clock at night. And
Wow.
I don't hesitate to go because I know that it's so important for us to connect those researchers to what they need.
And what kind of tissue? So when you talk about tissue, like, I'm a novice. So like what kind of tissue is it that you actually are looking for and that you're able to get for these researchers to do what they need to do?
Well, most of the tissue that we're receiving right now is breast tissue.
Okay.
But we have brain tissue, we have lung tissue, we have gynecological tissue. So we have ovarian, uterus, we have endometrial tumors, and those have already gone into some research projects. Some of the exciting things that we've been doing lately is we do have a leukemia study going on, and the Memorial pediatric oncologist, she coordinates with us, and they draw an extra tube of blood from a child who has leukemia.
Wow.
And the day that is drawn, I go and get it, and it goes directly into a research project that day.
Wow.
There are another project that we do, it's HPV study, which